Planning Board meeting June 6th, open at 6:01 today. And next, we have the oath of office for Fred.
Is it on?
Yep.
All right, repeat after me.
Okay.
I, Fred Fontana,
I, Fred Fontana,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a member of the Planning Board
as a member of the Planning Board
of the town of North Topsail Beach.
of the town of North Topsail Beach.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, I just had to get you to sign this.
Congratulations, Fred.
There's some more. Just sign right there.
And I'm going to wait just a second
Thank you.
to do the adoption of the agenda, as Fred has an amendment to the agenda.
I'd like to amend by removing item 5E, meeting time, from the agenda. I'll make a motion to do that.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good. Okay, next is the approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, next, we're going to have an organizational meeting. Do I open that as a separate meeting? Okay, it's just on the agenda as an organizational meeting. And I'd like to turn it over to Deb Hill on the planning board membership.
There we go. Thank you. So we now have Scott Morse, Fred Fontana, Lisa Brown, Terry Ward, Susan Meyer as regular members with 2 positions vacant, and with Stu leaving us after today. So that leaves 2 alternate positions vacant and 2 regular positions vacant. And so for the rules of procedure, I just wanted to go over this kind of the history real quick. And I've got we've been over the planning board duties and responsibilities, and I kind of put that in, made a hole punch, stapled it together for you. And we talked about bylaws before. In the first reference to the planning board's bylaws in the Board of Aldermen minutes was in June of 2002. And the second reference to the adoption of the planning board bylaws was September of 2002. I think I got that right. And yeah, June, yeah, sorry.
And then September 5th.
Yep. Yeah, June 6th, and then September 5th they adopted them.
That should be 2002, though.
Yeah.
Did I have a typo?
Or is that 6? That's the 2006, this is 2002.
Yeah, that's a typo, I guess, because I put it right there.
Yep. Okay, so
All right,
it's two-
sorry. I'll change that. June and then September.
Right.
There you go. And then the planning board rules of procedure were adopted October 13th of 2001. They're included as attachment 3, and they're generally reviewed annually during the organizational meeting like we're having today, and especially when new members are or were appointed. The rules of procedure are based on a template with comments by Fleming Bell from the UNC School of Government. The latest edition 4, was reviewed, revised, and readopted September the 9th, 2022. Let's skip one down. All right. And so on the one that we have, the latest one that we have, kind of gone back and forth on that. If you flip to the very back, and I didn't page number them, but if you can find the last edition, like if you kind of flip to the cover sheet, because it's Robert's rules, basically. But under rule number 1, regular meetings, I think we still have it at 5 p.m. We need to change that to 6 p.m. And that's all we've really ever changed is the time and the place, depending on hurricanes and condition of town hall, and then also the town's website. So if you want to take a look at those and email me with any other typos or corrections that you feel that are needed, I will correct those, and then we can readopt the rules of procedure at our next meeting. If that is okay with everybody? All right. Okay, it's pretty drama-free, pretty standard. Okay.
So we're supposed to have 7 regular members and 2 alternates?
That's the way it was. I'm not sure what they're...
Because they kept changing the numbers.
Well, that's what...
Ended up having,
What I've got from the latest that I got from the town clerk that was effective as of yesterday has, and I'll pass this down to you. That's what I got from the town clerk yesterday, and I just printed it off, and that's for the planning board. So,
Agreed, so-
oh, okay. All right. But they didn't change, because they were discussing,
The board talked about
They did.
how they were changing it.
yeah. Hannah, do you remember any of that?
But none of it's law. I mean, they never adopted it, they never voted on it, they just talked about it.
I think they talked about up to 7 members, and then there could be alternates.
Well, that's where they got it now.
Well, they mentioned either 7 regular members or 5 regular members and 2 alternates, but they never really zoned in on which they wanted. So here we are.
the part that this handout that I gave you, this part that I deleted was actually the closed caption text that I copied and pasted where no decision was made. But I didn't want to get into that tonight. You know, I'm giving you what I have, and the planning board membership is from the town clerk. So it is what it is until it's not.
The applications, I remember correctly, the applications for the planning board membership go through the Board of Aldermen.
That's correct.
And so the Board of Aldermen pick who the next planning board members are gonna be.
That's
And
correct.
then just put out a call for alternates, for people to submit applications again.
But yesterday at the meeting, when they voted, they only voted to fill one vacant full-time member. They didn't say we have 2 other vacant full-time positions.
It was discussed, if I recall, but they felt they needed to put out, and because that's where it came, whether you needed to resign first, that it wasn't vacant until you were sworn in, so they were debating that issue. And then they were saying that at that point, and so then I think today starts the 45 days that they have to post for the alternate positions.
Which they posted for one alternate position. I saw that today.
Right,
They'll have to post for a second alternate position.
right.
Well, most definitely for 2, but based on that, we need 2 regular members too.
Based on what
The town clerk.
Deb got from the clerk. And
Right.
Probably best just leave sleeping dogs lie. What your approach is.
I don't have an approach. I'm 63 years old, going on 64, going on 65. I have no approach. No, it is what it is, and it's the board's prerogative to make appointments. There has been historical conversations throughout the town's history where the planning board chairs have gone to the Board of Aldermen and have asked for alternates because of not having enough members to conduct the town's business, whether it was either on the Board of Adjustment or on the planning board. We've had kind of a lull the past few meetings, and we have been doing training. It's given us the opportunity to focus on training, which is good. But coming up in August, now we're not going to have a meeting in July because of the 4th of July holiday. And we've actually thought about scheduling a meeting in July, and that's something that whoever's sheriff, Susan or whoever you nominate, and depending on if we can get a quorum, but typically everybody's traveling 4th of July, or they've got, we can't get a quorum typically on major holidays. So as planning director, I don't make that commitment on a major holiday and try to schedule something. Even the applicant, has other plans. So it's kind of a futile effort trying to round up cats in a basket or kittens in a basket. But in August, there's a rezoning case, and I think that there was one other, there's a rezoning case and something else that was coming back up. So you're potentially going to have like 2 or 3 items. That's going to be a long planning board night in August. And so if if I get another application for something, that might have to be kicked until September. So, and so when we have people that, move unexpectedly, or they're unable to attend for either health reasons or family reasons, or they're traveling, and y'all certainly don't coordinate your schedules with each other. So sometimes, particularly during the summer, several of you might be having family in traveling in different personal business that you need to take care of. So at the same time that you're living your life and taking care of your responsibilities, I'm dealing with developers and homeowners that have construction loans that are beyond anxious to get started and get approval for things that I do not have the authority to approve at the staff level. So,
And August, I will not be at the August meeting. When we change the date for the planning board, I'm gonna be out of the country.
okay,
So,
so both, okay,
see, remember when we changed the date or the week that it was having and we
Right.
moved that messed up my,
So the meeting in August will be on August 1st.
yes,
Yes.
it will be, yep.
so would we still even have a
And the
quorum
one in
for that?
July would be July 4th, which is a holiday, so the town would be
Could
closed.
we
Right.
move the July meeting a week later?
We'd have to, well, that's
Be
what,
special,
we'd have to do a special meeting for it.
Mhm.
yeah,
And we'd
'cause
have to
for-
find out if Mr. Eads could come.
right, for a quorum, we need, you'd have, 3?
Yes, with a 5-person board.
Right.
Now,
Right now, you have a 7-person board, so you would need 4 for a quorum.
So we wouldn't have a quorum in August now, because if I'm not gonna be here and either is Lisa, there's only 3 of you.
so I do have a question procedurally.
That's correct.
This is Article 1 Planning Board. But the board, we
That's-
serve at the Board of Aldermen's
Pleasure.
pleasure. And if they're not electing 7 members, then are we a board of 5 with a 3-person majority, or a board of 7 where we need 4?
Right now, they have not officially changed the, right now, they have not officially changed the 7 and the 2.
Okay, so do we need to have them put it on the agenda for next meeting so that we know where we're standing? And if so, does the chair, whoever it might be, have to handle that?
Well, if they're waiting 45 days to
Yeah.
appoint an alternate,
Right, then we won't have them.
okay, and, but you also have 2 vacant, regular member positions that are, you have 2 regular positions that are vacant. You have 2 vacant
Alternate vacancies.
vacant, yes, sorry. Alternate positions vacant. So we need to, why could they not, at their next meeting, why could they not appoint 2 regular members at their next meeting?
Because they have applications for regular meetings, so regular members, so they really shouldn't have to solicit new applications for those positions, I wouldn't think.
No,
Except that they brought the point that now there are vacancies and we should allow other people too.
but in
So they were
yes-
giving the 45 days.
But in yesterday's Board of Aldermen meeting, they voted on the group of people to be considered for the position, and it was a unanimous vote for Fred. So, but out of that group of people, they already voted them as possibilities, if you will, or potential candidates. So since those already met the 45 days, the board already appointed them, not appointed them, but approved of them, if you would, nominated them, that's a better word, thank you, Lisa, that I'm wondering if then in the July meeting, would they be able to then choose 2 more to sit the regular members? Therefore, we would have a quorum for August, and we could continue
I
business.
get your point, but I think we probably need to get clarification from the Board of Aldermen. You know, I understand exactly what you're saying, Terry, and it makes sense. But we don't want to overstep
Oh, I agree.
My
and
recommendation,
assume anything.
Yeah, the only other possible solution would be for them to fill the alternate position that they're having to advertise for 45 days, which they can't do at the July meeting. They could do it at the August meeting, and then we could have a quorum if our August meeting was moved from August 1st to August 8th.
And if you move the meeting to August 8th, I would be available
I
as well.
would not do that.
Okay.
my recommendation is that in your planning board report, in the chair's planning board report to the Board of Aldermen for their July meeting, my recommendation to you is that you recommend to the Board of Aldermen that they fill the 2 vacant regular positions and that they fill the 2 vacant alternate positions, period. There's no drama to this.
But they can't do it in July,
Yes, they can.
not the alternate position.
Yes, they can.
They have to
The
advertise
net
those for
45 days. And that's why I was thinking that since we already had that pool of nominated candidates, yeah, that we might be able to draw from that, and that would cover that, but that would be a question, I guess, for the board and the town attorney, I'm not sure.
The sooner that you get these positions filled, the sooner that people can get trained to where that whenever people come in with these applications, that you have citizens that can make decisions on recommendations and move the business of government forward. This stagnation is not serving the citizens of North Topsail Beach. Staff's recommendation, and I'm going to repeat it again, staff's recommendation is that the planning board, in your committee report to the Board of Aldermen for July, recommends to the Board of Aldermen to fill the 2 vacant regular positions and the 2 vacant alternate positions.
You could recommend that, but they can't do the alternate position.
They have the prerogative to do whatever they choose, just as you as the planning board and you as individuals have the
As a point of procedure.
have the intellectual and the ethical and the moral capacity to make the recommendation on behalf of the citizens and the taxpayers of North Topsail Beach to the Board of Aldermen on their behalf.
I understand that, and I think we're in agreement, but I think they went on record at the board meeting yesterday saying that they would advertise the alternate position for 45 days, and I don't think they,
Good, depending on the size of the pool of applicants for the permanent position. I don't know if that was 3 people, 4 people, or 6 people.
I want to say there was like 5.
or so.
You could pull from that pool to fill the 2 permanent. And you could even take a 3rd one and make them an alternate, and you'd
Right.
still have the posting out there for the 2nd alternate.
The only problem with that, though, is I wasn't sure if the posting of 45 days had to be specific to a regular member or an alternate member. That was the only thing I wasn't.
And it
It
depends.
The
said-
posting is on the web,
and it said alternate.
and it said alternate.
So that would be different.
So,
But to Scott's point, we could at least then get 2 additional members to bring us up to 7, which would give us a quorum. in
if they're
August.
agreeable to that.
Of course. Yeah.
So
But
do
we would have to find out.
Do we need a motion to do that, or just a general consensus as the board chair to make that in the report?
You could, by consensus, you could, and you could state that in the report, and I'll work with the chair to craft it however you want to, that it was the consensus of the planning board to recommend based on Mr. Harness's resignation for,
Right.
you know,
not
And
doing
it does
so-
cover them the way,
Right, but not doing so would inhibit our ability to serve the town.
right.
Exactly.
Specifically
We wouldn't
at
have
the
a quorum.
next, well, not the next meeting, but, oh
August.
yeah, the next
The
meeting,
next
because there's no
meeting.
meeting in July.
Right,
The August meeting.
We wouldn't be able to meet till September at the earliest.
right.
Because I guess according to what I've read, nothing has changed in the law, so the board of aldermen has always had the power and authority
Yes.
to appoint,
And they,
but whether through apathy or, focus other ways or other, because I was an alternate. And you gave me videotapes to watch and
right,
things, places to go to look and learn and sit and watch and meetings and things like that.
right.
I'm still very inadequate when it comes to everything that Hannah and a lot of you folks know. But at least it gave me a place to start.
Right.
And if you don't have that time to learn,
I
a
agree.
lot of times you're making decisions on things
I
that you
agree.
really, with your best intentions, have no knowledge or understanding of what you're actually voting for. But that, to me, that's the importance of having the alternates.
I agree. Then the consensus sounds like we need to send that up to the board and move on to the next subject.
You can ask for a show of hands.
Okay. A show of hands on asking the board if they can use the poll and vote next meeting on regular members and then have the alternate stay as it is in the paperwork and whatnot. Does that,
Yes.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
So who's gonna phrase this in the form of a
Yeah,
question or, how do you, because if you tried a recommendation, if you tried to
Right.
force them or push them into a position they're
You're-
not.
I,
And that's where the planning board can only make recommendations. They don't
Right.
set policy or do anything else.
right, but, you know, I think that you can do so respectfully, and I think that
Right.
that's,
And
you know,
that's-
if I'm trying to help you, right?
Mhm.
And I can do so respectfully, right?
Mhm.
And you can say, planning board, respectfully recommends or request, the planning board by consensus request. Let me take a stab at it and see how you
Yeah.
feel about
This
this.
is
Yeah.
when you need Henry Kissinger.
Well,
Right,
you
right.
know.
Well, I think the board does not want to tie our hands behind our back. I don't think they realize, I don't think they
Yeah, I
realize
agree.
what position we're in.
I agree.
Well,
Because I don't think it was their intention to hamstring us.
Absolutely, I agree with
Yeah,
you.
I agree.
I think too that if we put in this recommendation, the reason why we're recommending this is because it's come to our attention that our next meeting, the August meeting, 2 of us will not be here. And therefore, we know we have something coming up on the calendar and we can't do the town's business if we have a
Exactly.
problem. So this is why we're recommending it. So I think if we give them the impetus behind this recommendation and the explanation, I mean, they're very reasonable
Yeah.
people. I don't see a problem.
Right.
But unless there's something we don't know, and that's possible
And that's
too.
their prerogative,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so are we're all in agreement that we're going to move forward with this?
Can I read you what I came up with?
That would be great, thank you.
See if my OCS, see if my military training has helped out any. Planning board respectfully requests that the Board of Aldermen appoint 2 regular members to the planning board due to the resignation of Mr. Stu Harness and the unavoidable absence of Ms. Brown and Ms. Ward from the next planning board meeting.
Request, but you need Council approve it at the July.
From the August planning board meeting.
But to fill the roster, because we're supposed to,
In order.
per the town clerk, we're supposed to have 7. Going back to the official document, right?
That may be the sticky wicket there.
Only
Because
if they want us to only
if
have
they,
5
if
people.
they want us to only have 5, they,
Yeah, they got
Right.
to change
The
it, 'cause then that
UDO
changes
is
the number.
7.
That has to come before,
right, all of this.
right now,
So,
it's 7 and 2.
right, so in order to do that, we would have to move forward with the 7, okay? And then if they voted and changed the UDO, what do you kick people off the board?
Even at 7, I,
Yeah,
Most recently approved was the alternate.
yeah.
yeah,
Except that they only wanted 2 alternates.
But if they moved it down to 5, the last 2 that they appointed as full-time members
They could move to an alternate.
would move to alternate
Right.
positions.
But we would already have voted for 2 alternates.
Not
At
necessarily.
their next meeting, they won't be able to do that.
If they move forward with this without changing the UDO. But if they decide they're going to change the UDO and then they want to change this, then we're in a situation where we have too many people on the board or too many alternates.
severe thunderstorm.
Right, but
So-
I'm scheduled to roll off, I think, next year. So attrition will take care of some of that.
True.
All right, let's move on. I think what you have is very good.
Sufficient enough? to
Right,
get it
except
through?
adding per the roster.
Per
in-
roster, per
yeah.
roster, per the town clerk's roster.
Right.
Vacancy.
And they could choose if they wanted to use the applicants they've already approved.
Okay. All you're doing is making a recommendation respectfully. I mean,
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
And you can work with whoever becomes chair.
and my point being, you're not gonna have a quorum in August with a 7 board member. So if you cut it down to 5, you're not gonna have a quorum out of 5. You know what I mean? Reducing the number is not gonna get you a quorum. You have a better chance of having a quorum with more numbers.
Except you
There's
only
no
have,
exception to that. And that's why and it comes with those alternates to boot. And that's why whenever you had the 5, it was more critical, especially with the Board of Adjustment. And the Board of Adjustment, and you can go back through the minutes in the Board of Aldermen, I almost think I was here then. Because there were 5 Board of Adjustment members, right? And they only had 2. And we couldn't get a quorum, and so they added 2 more to where that there were 4 alternates, 5 members, 4 alternates, to where that we had a better chance of having a quorum, especially whenever you are taking a chance of, when you're having a evidentiary hearing with attorneys present, and
Right.
the potential of going to court afterwards. And you're paying for a court recorder, right? And it's really kind of the same with the planning board. If you have, attorneys and you're having rezonings, we haven't really hit that stride so much. Like I said, we're doing the training, but we're coming up on rezonings. And I have had over 18 years, I have had contentious planning board meetings. Some, you guys are all relatively new.
Especially with the Board of Adjustment when you don't have, they're not regularly scheduled meetings.
Well, they used to be, and it was a little bit easier to schedule whenever it was the third Thursday of the month, because it was easier I think for the members as well as staff as well as the applicant and especially with advertising, to where that And if we didn't have if we didn't have a case, if we didn't have a hearing, then we were doing training. So we kind of got, you know, away from that. I don't think that did us any good. And now it with the town attorney having his schedule the way that it is, it's kind of hard to get back on his schedule to get cases, you know, to get things coordinated. It's really a struggle on that.
Okay,
So-
I think maybe we might be getting off subject just a little bit, and we probably need to move on the agenda.
All right. So,
We're on meeting time?
I thought that's what we just.
yeah,
That was it? Okay, you meant,
we took care of rules of procedure, that meeting time to 5
Okay.
to correct that and give it back to you. So if you want to do the election of chair,
okay, so we need to do the election of chair, and I'm not sure how you all want to do that.
I nominate Sue Meyer.
I second the motion.
Would anybody else like to be considered for chair?
That's a thankless job, Miss Hannah. Can be rewarding but thankless.
All right, is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, we have that. All right, we need a vice chair. I'm opening the floor for nominations for vice chair.
Yeah, there you go.
I nominate Fred.
I second. Is there any discussion? Anybody else interested in that position? Don't everybody speak at once. Okay, all those in favor of Fred being the vice chair?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Fred's the vice chair. Congratulations.
Thanks for volunteering.
congratulations. Hey. All right.
All right, now we have public comments. Hannah, do you have a public comment? Okay. Moving on to training, and I'm going to turn it over to Deb again.
Okay. We're going to slide through this really fast and get you caught up and out of here as it's getting later in the evening. Just a comment on planning and zoning. Typically in larger departments, you'll have a planner and then you'll have a zoning person. Smaller departments, you have somebody doing both. But planning tends to be the vision that a town or a local government will have. And with zoning's kind of the function that gets you to that vision. Oftentimes, that's the broad stroke of it. Prior to unified development ordinances becoming a thing, there was a subdivision ordinance and then there was a zoning ordinance. We used to have a really cool zoning map of the town that papered the wall, and that was a very nice visual. When we would have meetings, and so those are up in my office. If you haven't seen one in a while, please come and see me. And then those zoning maps really kind of set the tone. The zoning district set the tone for the uses that are allowable, on that parcel. Whether it's business district or townhouses or duplexes or single family houses. So in the planning part of it, it could be subdivisions. It could also be Camel Land Use Plan, which is what we're getting ready to get into. So when we talk about planning and vision, and we get into comprehensive plan in that Camel Land Use Plan, that's really the town's opportunity to kind of solidify their or formalize, I guess is a better way of putting it, their policies for the town's growth and development. So, in it, I'd sent you some reading material earlier, and along with the North Carolina general statutes that kind of lays that out for the Campbell Land Use Plan. So, as we go through, if you want to kind of flip through the Campbell Land Use Plan books that we have, or our comp plan books, they're laid out in a particular format, which is fairly standard in North Carolina, and probably some other states as well. But it's goals, typically goals, procedures, and policies. And if you want to go ahead and start the video for me.
Yeah, Deb, I'm not sure I'm getting those emails that you're sending out to.
You didn't get it? You don't think you got those?
No, I don't think I did.
There were about three documents that I sent out. They were pass. You didn't get them
I don't think
either?
I did.
I don't think I got it either.
You sent something out suggesting we watch that.
The video, I got that.
One was the video, and then there were two or three PDFs.
Oh, wait
Okay.
a minute, I might have.
So comprehensive plans, you may hear the term master plan, general plan, comprehensive plan, comp plan. Probably for the next few minutes, I'm gonna just say comp plan because it's easier to say. They all pretty much mean the same thing. And these comp plans are typically established at a state level,
I should have gotten you out
county
here
level,
sooner.
or city level. And really what they are a roadmap or a guidebook to how a community views itself and how they want their future to be and how they want to grow. It really encompasses their goals, policies, and visions for their future. And as I mentioned earlier, the first comprehensive plan to be created and adopted in the United States was in Cincinnati in 1925. So how are comprehensive plans used? Traditionally, local governments use them as their principal planning tools. And they take a long range time perspective, anywhere from 10 to 20 years. Cities are planning what the community sees for their future. And typically you have city plans, and then county plans include areas within unincorporated portions of their counties. And there are also regional plans. Regional governments often come, local governments come together at a regional level, and they often look at the interrelationship of their growth as well as the transportation system that connects all of those communities at a regional level. So what's included in a comprehensive plan? As I mentioned, the goals and policies of a community and the interdependencies of various elements are included in the comp plan. And I mentioned that comp plans are often done at state, county, regional, or city levels. Well, they're also done at small area or neighborhood plans, neighborhood levels. And at that level, they're really digging into how a neighborhood envisions itself and how it wants to grow. And they often look at the interdependencies and the relationship between land use, transportation, historic preservation, and the natural environment and parks. And these elements often have their own sections within a comp plan, or sometimes they're a separate document appended to a comprehensive plan. And so the elements in a comp plan, again at a city, county, regional level, and sometimes at a neighborhood level, we'll dig deep into this. We have land use. And what are the land use patterns? How do we want to designate land uses within our community? Housing. What's the density of housing in our community? Where do we want it to be high density versus maybe single family development? Transportation. What are the transportation linkages? Where do we have roadways? Do we want trails, bicycle, pedestrian, transit? All that's included in a transportation element. Public infrastructure, utilities. And then, of course, historic preservation, looking at, do we have historic districts? Do we want to designate historic districts? What are the important cultural features of our community or our city? Community or institutional facilities. Do we want to plan for new community centers and new libraries? That's what's looked at in that component. Parks and recreation, similar. Do we want to plan for new parks and new recreational facilities? Well, how do we even preserve some of these elements? Agricultural and rural lands, do we want to ensure that development doesn't encroach on the agricultural and rural lands that we actually have today in our community? And then critical areas and hazards. That often includes things looking at wetlands and slopes and topography, natural features and wildlife. So all of these elements come together in the comprehensive plan. So why am I telling you all this? Why is this important to you as a planning commissioner? Well, your role as a commissioner is really going to be making some land use decisions within the context of the comprehensive plan. And often you will be required and asked to update the comprehensive plan or review proposed updates to the comprehensive plan. Usually it's on an annual basis, but there are also, depending on the community, it could be other timeframes. And then you will also be asked to advise local officials as well as city council on the community goals set forth in the plan or in the update of the comprehensive plan. So how are comprehensive plans implemented? Well, for the most part, comprehensive plans are not regulations. There are exceptions to that rule, but in general, they are not regulations, although in some places they can be adopted by ordinance or just be guidance. But typically, land use ordinances such as zoning or subdivision regulations are required to implement the goals and the vision of the comprehensive plan.
Okay, we need to have Deb come back in.
All right, there's a lull in the rain, not the thunder, but in the rain. All right. I think that was it. All right, I want to get you guys out of here. The only short thing that I'm going to say on the numbers and stuff is I really still do firmly believe in good government. I still do firmly believe that we can work together respectfully. I think that we can still disagree with each other and still help each other. But we do have to have, I have to have a planning board. I have to have a board of adjustment in order to respond to the applications that come in the demands that are placed. I can't do it by myself.
Did it make sense to have an interim meeting, or does that not help?
Does it make sense to have what?
A July special meeting in place of that July 4th meeting, or does not help with whatever timing is necessary?
It depends on if I can get everybody together. And it depends on what everybody's schedule is. It depends on the applicant's schedule. When you have a set standard meeting where everybody knows they're going to be there, that's one thing. Whenever it's going to be holidays and people are traveling, then it's, I don't know yet until I call the applicant, until I call each of you, because like I said, you guys don't coordinate your schedules with each other, so there's no telling. Just like tonight, you didn't know none of you knew Terry was not going to be here. Probably none of you knew that Stu was going to be resigning, and things happen, life happens, but at that same time, and that's all understandable. I mean, there's no judgment on that, but at the same time, there's people with construction loans, and And if you did not if you built your own house, chances are, unless you paid cash, you had a construction loan. You know, and that's a lot of stress on people. You know, or maybe on some people maybe not, but it doesn't matter. I still have a responsibility to the applications that are coming in to deal with them in a timely manner, in a professional manner. You know,
We should be able to get an idea tonight who can make it July 11th, right, for the board, and then you can ask the applicants.
all right, so who's going to be here? Who can be here on July 11th?
I can.
That's 4, that's 5. All right. So, special meeting on July the 11th.
I can do the 18th. I can do any day, really.
Yeah, I think I'm available any Thursday.
Any Thursday? Can you do the 11th?
Yeah.
Can you do the 11th?
Yep.
11th, 11th, 11th? All right.
Is Stu actually running tonight, or what do you think?
Yeah. So that's,
I move next weekend.
Oh, my God.
You need to come back and come to the meeting. Oh, my God.
yeah. So I'll get a hold of the applicant and see if we can do July 11th. All right. And that'll at least knock one of them out off of the August plate for that. All right.
This is yours, right?
Yeah, I'll take all these. I need to take all these back. Unless you want to, if you want to take them home and look at them, and then as long as I get them back, that's fine too.
I think I have one from last time.
I have one, I think I have.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
All right, oh, here's the others too, I guess.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
I'll move.
I second.
Okay, all
Uh,
those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 6:53.